Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for getting on tonight. We are really excited. We have both Adam Packard and Kristen Landry on the call with us tonight. Adam is the Director of Sales for the East Coast, and Kristen is our Regional Sales Manager for the Midwest. So for Michigan, our Michiganders that are on all the way down, I don't know how far south you go, Kristen, but I know she does Missouri now. She has a bunch of the area. And then Adam's been with the company. How many years, Adam?
3 years.
Is that it? No way.
Yeah.
It feels like Adam's been here
I just get around.
It feels like Adam's been here a lot longer than that. Justin and I have been with the company for almost 12 years now. And it seems like you've been here a long time. So, but Adam is our go-to guy, my go-to guy, I should say. Whenever I need something, I'm like, I can't find something out or figure something out. So I thought he would be great to share with us tonight about the leadership pools, because we've had a lot of questions about, tell me exactly how I qualify, and what if I have 1 week where I don't meet my, my cycles, my personal cycle growth, and different things like that. And I want to make sure you guys really understand the pools, because there is a pool for 1 stars, and then there's a pool for 2 and 3 stars, and then it just continues to elevate. And when Justin and I were new, the pools didn't come into play until 2009. So the pools really weren't around. But now you guys, we see people coming in and they're making more money in the pools than they are like in their actual cycles even for the month. And so you really want to understand why you want to become a director. That's where the director pools start. And then move on to executive, and something that you guys are on here every week, because you hear me preach this, but you want to stay paid as executive. When you hit executive, you want to stay paid as, and we've been, like I said, with the company almost 12 years, and we've been paid as executive in our original position. We hit it at 6 weeks, and we've stayed paid as for 11 and a half years. And it's work for us to stay paid as, just like it is for you, but it's worth it, because if you're telling your people to be executives, then you have to lead from the front. At least that's what we believe, is you have to lead from the front. So, you really want to work to get to paid as executive and stay there. And so the pools are awesome. And Adam's going to talk to you a little bit about the pools and how all those work. And I'm going to drop a little advertisement in here for next Monday night Zoom at 8:30. Make sure you get all of your teams on. We are going to cover the qualifications for Rise Up for our 2-star retreat. We're really excited. It's going to be in Lake Tahoe this year, September 27th through the 30th. And I spoke to Kathy a couple days ago, and they are going to do a brunch on Sunday for all the 5 stars at their lake home in Tahoe. So she's like, I was like, would you mind joining us for lunch? She's like, how about I just have organic lunch catered in? And I'm like, or we'll take that at your house. That's a better deal. So that's a better deal. So if you are a 2-star, you are invited. You have to hit 2-star just one time since last July, and you have to have been paid out as executive 2 weeks in the last year, you guys. So it's so easy to qualify, and it's such an awesome event with personal development, and really just we see everybody who's there, their team just blossom afterward, and their teams have so much growth. So we're super excited about that event. And next week's Zoom will be all about the details of that, how to qualify and how to get everything booked for you and your spouse, if you have a spouse coming with you. So anyway, I'm going to welcome Adam, and he is going to take us through. He has some of the people on our team. He has some of their reports, and he's going to walk us through the 1-star pool and the 2-star and above pool. So have at it, Adam.
So I'll go through these a little bit. Thank you to Courtney and Amy for allowing me to log into your back office and change your direct deposit to my address. Appreciate that. Just kidding. Everybody else has great lighting, and I feel like I'm in my 16-year-old stepson's room. As you can see, this is not my home office. This is that's why you're probably wondering, what are these posters? All right, so I'm going to share my screen, see how this works. All right, here we go. So I'll just do desktop. And let me know when you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, we can see it. It's perfect.
Okay. All right, so first thing we're going to go through is we're going to go through Courtney's example here. This is the executive and 1-star pool. And you really have to, when you're looking at the pools, you have to separate the director and executive 1-star. Executive 1-star is one pool, and then director is another pool. But those 2 pools are completely separate than the 2-star and above pools. So you might find yourself playing in both the 1-star and the 2-star, and we'll go into some examples on how that works. But how the shares and how you earn in the pools is different, whether you're a executive 1-star or 2-star and above. So when we see this, it's going to be a lot of info. You know, if you have your back office, it might be helpful to pull it up later and just kind of go through it and just get familiar with how it works. But we're just going to dive right into this. And I pulled up, let's see here. Here we go.
Yeah, one thing I'll tell them real quick is that this recording, we're going to post this on our website, justinandhilarycourtney.com. It'll be under the Zoom tab, under Monday Night Zooms, and it'll be posted by like Wednesday. So you can go out and rewatch this so you can really understand it, because Adam does a great job of explaining how it works.
Awesome. So as I was saying with the executive 1-star pool, so we'll touch on this one first, and then we'll get into the 2-star, because you have to know how the director and executive pools work before you get to 2-star. And it's really important as you're promoting new managers to get them on a call to understand how the director pools work, because there's $7,500 in the pools that they can earn in a period of 3 months, and there's $30,000 they can earn in the executive 1-star pool in a period of 6 months. So a couple things just to kind of, if you're taking some notes down, these both have time limits. So the director and executive pools have time limits. It's 3 months for the director pool, 6 months for the executive and 1-star pool. And the clock starts the first time you qualify to play in the pool. So Hilary mentioned, you know, you hit director and then you can play in the director pools. The first time you hit director, you don't necessarily automatically qualify to play in the pools. So some of the things you have to keep an eye on is you have to be paid as director, or in this case, paid as executive, all 7 days of the week for that week to count towards the pools. So I'll give you an example. If you hit director on Wednesday and you were director Wednesday through Sunday, well, because you weren't director on Monday and Tuesday, that week wouldn't count. And if you fell out of director, you could still technically be a director, but not necessarily have your clock yet start for the pools. Does that make sense? So same with executive. You could hit executive but not qualify to play in the pools yet. So it's all 7 days in the week for that week to count. And for the director and executive pools, you only have to qualify 1 week of the month in order to play in the pool. And if you don't already have this printed out somewhere in your office, it's really important to kind of use this as a guideline for when the months start and stop. You can see we don't operate off of a calendar month. We operate off of a 4-4-5 weekly calendar. So you can see we just ended our last leadership pool on February 25th. And then you can see the next one in March the March pool goes from February 26th to April 1st, right? So who would have guessed? But it's a 5-week month. So if you don't already have this, print this out and use this as a guideline. So if you were shooting for the executive pool, you'd want to have, be an executive that week starting February 26th through Sunday for that week to count. So really important to keep an eye on the calendar, know when the weeks start and stop, know when the months start and stop as well. And Hilary, feel free to stop me as I go, fire away questions, anything. So we're going to first look at, and I pulled up two. I pulled up Courtney's previous month because it shows the entire month, and I also pulled up the current one as well. So in your back office under contests and promotions, you can click on leadership pools, and it pulls up a whole list. So obviously you want to click on the one that you are currently playing in or have the potential to play in. But in the director and executive 1-star pool, basically the way this works, again, you have to qualify 1 week of the month. So if it's a 5-week month, you still only have to qualify 1 week. And you have to have, again, paid as director or executive all 7 days for each of those weeks to count. And then you have to have cycle growth of at least 2 cycles. And what's really handy now on the reports, if I scroll down here, you can see, personal net cycle growth minimum, director, executive, and 1-star, 2 cycles, right? So if you forget, there it is down there at the bottom. So as we're looking at this, what it's going to do is going to take the previous 4 weeks, and it's going to look at your personal cycles, and it's going to give you an average. So you can see 6, 4, 7, 6, and you're probably wondering, how does that average out to 5, right? So it's 23 divided by 4. It's less than 6, so they give you the benefit of the doubt. So the net cycle benchmark is 5. So the pools are designed to reward you for growing your business. So we have to set a benchmark in order to measure growth. So in this example with Courtney, for the month of February, you can see here now we're going to keep track of her cycles, week ending 2/4, 2/11, 2/18, and then 2/25. Maybe Courtney can tell us what her cycles were. This is still using kind of an estimate here. But if this holds true, you can see she had growth the first week of 5. She hit her benchmark weeks 2 and 3. And if this holds true, she had a big week and she had a growth of 13. Okay. So if we were to add all those up, her net cycle growth, instead of just saying 5, would say 18. So the first thing you want to look at is this number here higher than 2? Okay, it is. And then it's going to go down here and look at what her qualifications were. So it's not showing that 4th week just yet. It will. But let's just assume she stayed paid as executive, because we know how big Hilari is on staying paid as executive. So she qualified all 4 weeks. So we're going to take this number here, this personal monthly net cycle growth. So let's assume this is 18. We're going to come down here and say monthly net cycles, 18 divided by 4, multiply times how many weeks she qualified, right? So you can see this is the formula, pretty easy to keep track and figure out how many shares you would earn. So in this example, she would have earned 18 shares, right? So 18 divided by 4 times 4 would be 18. You see how I get that? And that's going to give you the number of shares that she's going to earn. Now, in the director and executive 1-star pool, the shares are variable, meaning the amount of money that you earn could change depending on the month. Because basically what it does is the director pool has $75,000 every month, and the executive 1-star pool has $125,000 every month. And it takes the total number of shares that are earned by all the people that qualified, divides that into the total payout, and it spits out a dollar amount per share. And we've seen the director pool share value anywhere from $50 to $200, and the executive pool anywhere from $100 to $500. It just depends on the month. Typically, the months that there's higher payout are your December, January, July. When there's less people active in the business, there's more money in the pool. So keep that in mind. So the share values were a lot higher last month because we had fewer people playing. So in this example, she would have earned 18 shares. And if we were to use, let's say it was $300 a share, that would be $5,400. Now, there's a couple things I want to show you on this. You want to print out this flyer if you don't have it already printed out. So we have the calendar, and you have all the rules here. So this right here is what I want to show you. So there are caps in these pools. So if you earn between 1 and 5 shares, you can earn up to $500. If you earn between 6 and 10 shares, you can earn up to $1,000. And if you earn 11 or more shares, you're capped at $5,000. So in her example, let's say she earned 18 shares at $300 a share. We're just ballparking because we don't have that number. $5,400, but again, she's capped at $5,000. So she would have maxed out the director or executive pool there. Excuse me, the executive pool.
What I think is so awesome about this is that's for Courtney. She's on here, I know, listening. Say that holds true. So say that you earn a $5,000 bonus. That's so awesome because you look at her cycles for the month, her bonus is more than her cycle payout. Yeah. I just think it's awesome, you guys, when you're new. I really encourage everybody, and they know I say this, but it's hit it quickly. If you could become an executive if you know you're coming in for the business and you do it quickly, Courtney's benchmark is lower. The quicker you do it, the lower your benchmark because you're new in the business. And so you can make a lot more in the pools by building quickly. So
totally. And the only difference between the director pool and the executive 1-star pool with these caps is the 11 or more shares, it's capped at $2,500. But the 500,000, 5,000, so you can see that the first two are the same. And actually, just so you know, this says 11 plus, but it's anything higher than 10. So they do fractions of shares. So if you do 10.1, you would fall into this higher category. So I wish they would change the flyer, but it's anything higher than 10. So if you hit 10 exactly, you'd be capped at $1,000. And this is one thing that we teach quite a bit when we're going through these pools and we see payouts, and it's eye-opening. If you don't understand how these pools work and how to maximize them, you can leave a lot of money on the table. So in the example with Courtney, let's say that she had 9 shares at $300 a share. That's $2,700. But because she was at 9, between 6 and 10, she would have earned $1,000 instead of $2,700. And it's even more pronounced when you get up into the higher numbers. So I've seen people that have earned, right on the printout that we get that shows all the people that earned. I've seen people that have earned 10 shares and they earned $1,000, and I see people that have earned 10.1 shares and earned $4,700. So how do you figure that out? Well, when you're looking at your pools, you can figure out you can kind of do the formula, right? So if you know, hey, I need to be higher than 9, or I need to, if I'm close to that 1 to 5, I want to get to 6 shares. So just do the math, right? So if you assume you're going to qualify all 4 or 5 weeks, you know what your benchmark is. You can just do the math and figure out, okay, what do I need to get here as far as monthly net cycles in order to get more than 10 shares? And that's why it's really important to have that calendar printed out. So you can go through that and you know exactly what your benchmark is, when the weeks start, when they stop, when the month starts, when the month ends, and then how many cycles you have to create personally for the month in order to make sure you hit that highest cap. Now, just because you hit 11 shares doesn't mean you're going to earn $5,000. If the share value was $200, you would earn $2,200. It just gives you the potential to earn up to $5,000 if the share value is higher. So the director executive pools are based off of your personal cycles. And like Hilari said, in the beginning, you can see when your cycles are 4, 5, 6, 7, she has the potential to earn thousands of dollars in the pools from growing and having, a couple really good weeks. So she had 2 weeks where she hit her benchmark, and she had 2 weeks where she crushed her benchmark. And so you can see there's a big potential here for earning quite a bit of money. Something else that comes up is, if you had, let's say you had the first 3 weeks and she had, 3 cycles, 2 cycles, 3 cycles, but then the last one she had 27 cycles. It's the total for the month. So it doesn't matter if you didn't hit your benchmark the first week or second week. It's just looking at the entire month and going to give you an average. So don't get discouraged if I only hit my benchmark this week. Well, she could have easily gotten discouraged here and not, put her foot on the pedal, but she did. She got to work and she got 18 cycles. So that's a huge payout. So it takes the entire month and gives you that average. And if you're above 2, then try to get as many shares as you can, because the share values are pretty high for the director and executive pool.
And another thing I always tell people is if you're like one person from executive and it's like Sunday, do everything you can to get done by Sunday night, because the week, like Adam said, starts Monday, and you have to be in the pool. You have to be executive the whole week. So if you wait until Monday to hit executive, then you've lost that whole week that you're in. So, if you're close, you always want to get there by Sunday night so that you play in the pool for the whole next week.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep, exactly. And just on the time limits, just so you know on this, so your clock starts the first time you play in the pool. So let's say you're in the director pool and you played the first month, and the second month you hit executive. Once you hit executive, you can't go back into the director pool, even though you have 2 months left. So that's important to note. And some people will ask, well, shouldn't I just wait and play in the director pool for 3 months? No. There's more money in the executive pool. There's more money when you get to the 2-star pool. So you never want to wait. You never want to try to time things perfectly. Hit executive as fast as you can. It's going to help your personal cycle count. But let's say you hit director and you qualify to play the first month. The second month, you don't qualify to play in the pools. That still counts as month 2. And then your third month would start up the next month. And the months, it's not a calendar month. If we're looking at the calendar here, you could have potentially hit director or executive this last week in February. And you would have counted February as your first month. So then you'd have March and April. So it's not 90 days. It's 3 leadership pool months. Again, don't time it. Don't try to be strategic with this, but just have an idea of how these work, and that will help you quite a bit. So that's the important thing to remember. They're really easy to kind of figure out how many cycles you have, how many shares you're going to get. Understanding those caps and teaching your team that, hey, if you're between 1 and 5, try to get to 6. If you're close, you're at 8 or 9 or 10 cycles, get to 11, so you can try to maximize them. So, and then 1 week of the month qualified, and you'll be playing the pools. So, any questions on that, Hilari?
No, that's awesome. So,
okay.
Do we have her next month, Adam? That like, is this?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it only shows. Hang on, I
Yeah.
gotta minimize
I know
this.
it just started, but just so that they could kind of see, like, since this is the very beginning of it, it'll only show like this week, but just so they can kind of see what.
Yeah, so you can see her benchmark went up. So her personal cycle benchmark went from 5 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now it's not going to count that big week, which is good too. And you can see here week ending. I mean, we're still on estimates, and these estimates aren't always super accurate. So don't worry about that. But you can see now she has to shoot 4. Okay, if she needs 7, now we're in a 5-week month. So she needs to average, if you add up all of her cycles, so 5 times 7 would be 35. She needs to have at least 37 cycles total for the month in order to have that growth of 2. So that could be any combination.
Because you guys, you have to have 2 cycles, personal cycles of growth over what you did the time before. Just right. So they can be clear on that.
Yep, total.
Yep. It shows it below, right down, yep, that little chart at the bottom where Adam's was.
Yep. Yeah, so, get in here, understand your benchmarks, put it up on your dry erase board, your calendar, know what your benchmark is, literally, put a bold line when the weeks and the months start and stop, and it will really help guide your business. This is a great way to measure the growth of your business and seeing if the activity that you're doing is leading towards cycle growth, which is what the goal is. So Courtney, thank you for sharing. Nice job in the pools, and kill it again next month. So if you don't know if you're qualified to play in the pools, the only way that we can look it up, like Kristen and I, is by going through every single one of your commission statements, and it's really hard to do. So what I would recommend is calling customer care. We can look at when you hit director or hit executive and then start to look at commissions from there. Typically it's somewhere close to when they hit the recognition rank. But hopefully you have that info or know which pools you're qualified to play in.
Hey, Adam, and like Courtney, for example, she hit 2-star last night.
Okay.
So I just thought that'd be a great transition because, I mean, so she has, she hit 20 last night, actual cycle. So she'll move to that next, be able to play in the next pool too.
So she hit 20. So her pool would change a little bit. Her pool that we just showed would change a little bit because she would earn 1 week in the 2-star pool and then 3 weeks in the executive pool. So they're never going to penalize you. So the way that the multiple pools work is if, let's say, Courtney, played 3 weeks in the executive pool and then 1 week in the 2-star pool, one of the changes or one of the differences in the 2-star and above pools is you have to qualify at least 2 weeks to play in that pool. Well, Courtney just played 1 week, right? She grew into it. She played that last week, but we're not going to penalize her for growing her business. And so she's going to earn in that 1 week, she's going to be paid out in the 2-star pool, which is pretty great.
Good job.
All right, so let's get into 2-star. Any questions on executive 1-star? No.
There was somebody that asked in the chat, but they just wanted to know how you know how much time you have remaining. And like Adam said, it's just from the first time that you're actually in the pool. It's 3 months in the director pool and 6 months in the executive pool from the first time you play in each pool. So
right.
That's
6 leadership pool months. So you could look through if you know when you hit director or hit executive, start then and look in your commission statement and see if you earned in leadership pools. And look back at the calendar and see what month that was, and then start your clock.
And someone else just asked, are these reports in the back office? Yeah, they're in your back office. That's why I wanted you to do this, Adam, because I know people don't even understand all the pools. So back under contest,
right where it is here. So under contest and promotions. Oh, and Courtney, get your international sponsorship. Plug for the international team. All right, here we go. So down here, executive leadership pool. Click view reports. And you can see depending on which one you're looking at, right? So for Courtney's executive 1-star, we can look at current month, previous month. And we pull it right up. There it is. And the flyers back here as well. So you can go back and click on the flyers right here. View executive and 1-star pool flyer, view 2-star pool flyer. And then when you want to get crazy, platinum pools. It's a little more confusing, right, Hilari?
Yeah, then it gets a little more. I'm trying to erase the stuff that's on your screen.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Someone has drawn on there, and we actually locked it, so I don't know how that's happening.
Maybe I did it.
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully
Sorry.
we're good. No, you're good. Yes, the platinum pools get really confusing. I was so clear on all the pools. I'm like, yes, I got this. And they're like, no, we have platinum pools. But once you get there, it's awesome because you know you have a platinum business center. So just work to get there, and then the pools are just, we always tell everybody, Adam, too, like, you want to understand these, you guys, you want to know how they work, but the bread and butter of your business is your cycles. Your cycles are your residual income. So yes, you want to understand this, and yes, you want to explain it to your team, but you teach everybody, like we don't focus on the PIB or the rank advance. I mean, we really try to focus on, make sure you have consistent cycle growth, because it's what's really gonna, be your long-term residual income. So.
And I mean, you won't earn in the pools unless you have cycle growth. So
That's
again,
right.
you gotta focus on cycle growth, staying paid as executive, and if you do that and help develop people as well, that's how you earn in the pools. So don't feel like you have to earn in the pools every month. There's going to be some months where you're not going to have that growth, and that's okay, right? There might be some months where you have great growth and some where you're, a little bit more flat, and, not every business goes straight up. I'm sure Hilari would tell you that their business has gone up and down, right? But it's been kind of like that, right? So, but yeah, cycle growth is a big part of it.
Consistency is the most important thing. Even when you're not having the enrollments you want, you guys, when you're not having the cycles you want, you just stay consistent. And when you just stay consistent, like Adam said, there will be like somebody just asked me that this last week. They've only been a couple years, and she's like, but I feel like my cycles are like steady. And I'm like, right, they're going to go steady and up as long as you keep focused in those periods where it's flat. You keep consistent, because you're going to find somebody then in that period that's going to make your business go up again. And so just consistency is the key.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into 2-star and above pools. So Amy, thank you for sharing your info here, so we can take a look at your charts, and we're going to get into the 2-star and above pools. So a couple of differences. If you draw a line and say, okay, 2-star and above pools now, the differences between these pools and the ones we discussed previous. With a 2-star and above pool, you have to play at least 2 weeks in these pools for that, in order to qualify to play in the pools. Your growth now, the way you're getting paid is not going to be based on your personal cycles. Your personal cycles still matter. Your personal cycles now are just a qualifier to play in the pools. So your growth and how you're going to be paid, the number of shares, is going to be based on your 4 PET cycle count. So, and it's also going to take a bigger benchmark. You can see here we're looking at a 13-week benchmark versus a 4-week benchmark. There's no time limit on the 2-star and above pools, so you can play in them indefinitely. You can play in the 2 to 3-star pool, jump up to the 4 to 6, back to the 2 to 3. You can go all over the place. As long as you have the growth and you qualify, then you can earn in these pools. The share value in these pools is fixed, so you can actually determine exactly what you made. In the 2 to 3-star pool, the share value is $18. In the 4 to 6-star pool, the share value is $20. And in the 7-star and above pool, the share value is $30. And so we're going to take a look at this example here and show you personal cycle count and 4 PET cycle count. It's going to give you a benchmark for each one of these. So in this example, Amy's personal cycle count benchmark over those 13 weeks, all these numbers added up, divided by 13, gives her 20. 4 PET cycle count, add all these up, divided by 13, 58. So that means there's 58 cycles within her 4 PET. So the chart is similar in how you figure this out, right? So we're going to look at her 4 PET cycle growth, or excuse me, her 4 PET cycles minus her benchmark gives her net cycle growth for that week. We do that every single week. You can see here, nice job, Amy, that last week, 135. So let's estimate this at another 80. So let's say 100, and let's just ballpark it, say 140 for net cycle growth, okay? So that's the first part of the equation is 140. Now, the second part of this is, did she qualify? Remember, in order to qualify to play in the 2-star and above pool, you have to have growth of your personal cycles. And if we scroll down here and look at this little chart, you can see here, executive 2 to 3-star pool, personal net cycle growth minimum 10. So that means Amy had to grow above her personal cycle benchmark by at least 10. Amy, boom, goes the dynamite. There we go, right? So you got more than 10, so you're good. So you had 9 that first week, you had 1, and then you killed it that that last week. So you'll have well more than 10. So you qualify. So all this is looking at, this is not going to say, oh wow, Amy's going to earn 11 shares. No, this is just saying, is this higher than 10? If it's higher than 10, then Amy's qualified to play in the pools and earn on this 58 or 140 monthly net cycle growth of her 4 PET. So a little bit more confusing because you have to look at both 4 PET and personal cycles, but it's really the same type of formula. You just got to keep an eye on this. I've seen people that have had massive 4 PET cycle growth, but they totally forgot about their personal cycles and they didn't qualify, so they didn't earn anything. And you might be asking, okay, well, yeah, if I'm growing my 4 PET, why do I need to have personal cycle growth too? Well, let's just give an example. Let's say I enrolled Hilari on my left, and let's say I have a power leg on my right. Well, let's actually say Hilari's on my power leg. I personally enroll her, so I've got massive 4 PET on my right side, but I don't have anybody on the left. So my 4 PET is blowing up, but I'm not growing my cycles. Remember, the whole point of leadership pools is they're designed to reward you for growing your business. And part of growing your business is growing your personal cycles. So you could have a rock star that you personally enrolled, but if it's not helping you grow your cycles as well, it's going to limit your growth in the pools. So that's why it's important to keep an eye on your personal cycle benchmark and always be growing that. And then if you have a large 4 PET or you're working on developing your 4 PET, that's where you're going to make your money in the 2-star and above pools. So in this example, let's just say it's 140 for the monthly net cycle growth. Same formula. We look at, was she qualified, right? Was she executive all 4 weeks? We know Amy was qualified all 4 weeks. So we take 140 instead of that 58, divided by how many weeks are in the month, multiply times how many weeks she qualified. She would have earned 140 shares. We know the share value is $18 a share. So 140 times 18 is what, 2,500 bucks, something like that, right?
Adam's
so
like calculator.
Is that right? It's about right. Yeah. So one thing to keep an eye on as well is, in order to play in the 2-star and above pool, you have to have 2-star cycles. Meaning, if Amy were to hit, let's say she hit 19 cycles this second week, this week wouldn't count. Right? So if she hit 21, remember, you have to be between 20 and 39 cycles to be considered 2 to 3-star. So if she was at 19, that would be the 1-star pool. And she could technically earn in that 1-star pool if her clock hadn't run out in that 6-month time frame. But so keep an eye on that as well. So in order to play in the 2-star and above pool, you have to have at least 20 cycles. And then let's say she hit 61 cycles this week, then she would have played 1 week in the 4 to 6-star pool as well. They're only going to pay out multiple weeks if you qualify all weeks in the month. So if Amy would have qualified in the 2-star pool the first 2 weeks, missed this week, and then earned in the 4-star pool this week, she would not have earned in the 4-star pool. They would have paid her out in the 2-star pool. So they only pay out in the higher pool if you earn all weeks in the month. So a couple things to keep in mind. Like I said, make sure you're above that 2-star mark in order to qualify. Make sure your personal monthly net cycle growth is at least 10. And then look at your 4 PET and try to grow this as much as you can, and you can determine how many shares you earn in the 2-star pool. And just a little extra fun for the 2-star pool, the first 3 months that you play in the 2 to 3-star pool, you can double and triple your payouts. So in order to double and triple the payouts, and this is in the flyer, but the first 3 months that you play in the 2 to 3-star pool, and this is, it's a clock that starts. So if you play the first month and then you don't play the next 2 months, those are your 3 months. But it's going to look at your personal cycle growth. And it's going to say, okay, if Amy had personal net cycle growth of between 11 and 20, she would have doubled her payout that month. If she would have grown her personal net cycles by 20 or more, then she would have tripled her payout. So instead of earning $2,500, she would have earned $5,000 or $7,500, which is pretty awesome. Keep in mind, what's cool about this extra bonus is you have to have at least 10 personal cycle growth in order to qualify to play in the pools. So if you had 10, you wouldn't double or triple. But if you get one more, if you have 11, you double, right? So they're making it really easy to double in the pools your first 3 months. So something to keep an eye on if you're executive shooting to that 2-star with Hilari's, 2-star retreat you guys have. Understanding that double and triple, we've seen people make, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 in that 3-month time frame just by understanding how the pools work and then maximizing it. So
two things, Adam. A couple of things. Like Courtney, for example, just hit 2-star last night. So like when Courtney is in this pool, this is your very first, month in this pool. So you want to make sure and know your personal cycle growth, like Adam said, because if you get to the end of the month and you're at 10, you want to make sure you get to 11, because for you it would double. Or if you have 20, it's going to triple whatever amount you're going to get this for the month we're just starting. So, and then another thing a couple people have asked in the chat, Adam, is what does for PET? So it's your personally enrolled team. So like, for example, we're using Amy's report. So I'll use Amy. Like I personally enrolled Peggy. So she's my one personally enrolled team. Peggy enrolled Kim. Kim enrolled Carrie. Carrie enrolled Amy. So my 4 PET is anybody that I personally enroll, then who they enroll, 4 levels deep. So it's your 4 personally enrolled teams. Like Amy's my 4th PET, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how that works, you guys.
Yeah, so it's the way these are designed is it's rewarding you for the people that you brought into Isogetics, right? So if I'm on a shared leg and someone dropped Hilari or Amy or Courtney into my group, but they're not personally sponsored by me or any of the people that I brought in, I'm gonna benefit based on the volume and the cycles, but I'm not gonna benefit in the 4 PET cycle count because they weren't brought in by me. I would really say when you get to this 2-star and above, it's a lot more. You got to still drive the personal cycle count. You still got to drive your personal cycles and enrollments. But the more people you develop, consultants, managers, directors, executives, that's where you see this grow. And Amy and I have talked about this. She's had some parts here like this 98 and 26. Shoot for 5 to 10 times your personal cycle count for your 4 PET. Looking at some of the people that earned the most in the pools last year and looking at what their personal cycle count was and what their 4 PET was, the top were about 10 times 4 PET count to personal cycle count. So if they had 100 personal cycle count, their 4 PET was at 1,000. So if you're setting goals with, hey, I want to develop my 4 PET cycle count, shoot for 5 to 10 would be a good number to help you earn more in the pools.
And that's what hopefully everybody's doing anyway, because like we talk about, if you want to build long-term, you want to build people. Building people is where you're going to build residual income. So if you're getting to executive yourself and you're building other people to executive, and that's, again, part of the point of Rise Up is that to be able to attend, you have to be paid as executive and you have to have hit 2 stars. So, both of those things, and everybody still has time to qualify for that. People are joining right now who will attend this year. So, you guys have plenty of time to do that. So
that's it. That's the pools in a nutshell.
Awesome. Any other questions, you guys, for Adam? You can type them in the chat. We can see them in the chat. Or if you have a question, you can click unmute in your square and unmute. Just if you have a lot of background noise, we're recording this, so please don't unmute if you have a ton of background noise.
Hilari, how long can you play in the 2-star pool? How many months? How long?
Indefinitely.
Oh, indefinitely. Okay.
Yeah.
Adam, can you explain one more time how you can triple, double, all that again in the 2-star and above? How do you do that?
Yeah, so the first 3 months that you qualify to play in the 2-star pool, so your clock starts the first time you do it. If you have personal cycle growth of between 11 and 20, then you double your payout. So remember, personal cycle is just a qualifier, right? So you have to have at least 10 in order to qualify to play in the pools. If you're between 11 and 20, you double your payout. If you're between 21 and 30, then you triple your payout, 21 or higher.
So like Amy, for example, you've been in the two-star pool before, so this isn't within your first 3 months, but say like Adam said, you made $2,500 and say it was within your first 3 months and you had the 11 or whatever number you had, then you would have doubled that. It would have been 5,000. Or if you would have had 20 or more personal cycles of growth, I don't know, Adam, can you scroll down a little bit?
So yeah, 20, if you would have had 21, then it would have tripled.
There you go. So right there, then it would have tripled, Amy. So like, if this, so you would have, I mean, your 38 minus 20 is another 18. So you would have had enough. If this would have been your first 3 months in this pool, you would have tripled that. So for your new executives,
Got it.
stars, this is a big deal.
So it's only in the beginning that occurs. There's a time limit on that potential.
Yeah, time limit on the double and triple, just for brand new 2 to 3 stars, because typically someone that's been a 2 or 3 star for a while is earning more. Someone that's just hitting 2-star is still in that getting their cycles up, so they try to give you an extra bonus there.
So when you hit 4-star, that starts over. 5-star, it starts over.
No, it's just 2 to 3 star.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. At 4 and 5 star, you're rolling in it, Amy. So it's like it's a totally different level.
Any other questions for Adam?
I would just say keep an eye on your benchmarks, keep an eye on the calendar, keep an eye on the caps, especially if you're new team members that are just hitting director executive. Understand how to make that formula work so you know how many shares you need to maximize the pools. And then, when you get that 2-star, understanding how to maximize those 3 months. And yeah, everybody's business is a little bit different. And if you have specific questions, you can reach out to myself and Kristen, and we'll be happy to look at your report and do a little coaching on it if you need to. So feel free to use us for that.
Somebody says, is the best way to maximize the pool to enroll new people and duplicate?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you want to enroll new people, Nicole, but you always want to be building those people. Like in this pool, like the 1-star pool is just your own cycle growth, but the 2-star pool and above, you have to build people because it's your 4 PET that you're getting paid for. So.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, Adam, thank you for getting on here. I know you had a crazy day. Tell Sarah we're praying for her, so hopefully she gets a little better. But all right, guys, we'll get this posted. It'll be up next week, or it'll be up by Wednesday on our website. And then next Monday night at 8:30, we're going to do the Zoom will be on how to qualify for Rise Up and all the details of the hotel and everything for Rise Up. So we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody. Thanks for getting on.
See you guys.